Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. So another day, another dollar, as they say. I'm headed off to work in the 2020 GMC HD AT4. It's kind of a mouthful, but this is a pretty cool truck. I was lucky enough to pick it up back in September, and I've put just over, well now, 8,200 miles on this thing. And I love this truck. It has been a blast to own and a blast to drive. Now, it's a GMC, and I'm a Chevy guy, so I gotta tell you why I decided and why I ended up going with a GMC instead of a bow tie. Yeah, they are basically the same truck, but the biggest difference was just the front ends. When GM released the 2020 Silverados back in June of this year, I just could not wrap my head around the front end styling. There was just something about it that was just out there. It was way too big, way too bold. I just couldn't do it. Now, I have seen a few of them since then that have been modified, color matched, and things like that look a lot better, I've got to say. But still, the GMC, in my opinion, is a better looking truck. So I decided to go with the AT4. The Denali is a really nice truck, and from the inside, this is pretty much the same thing. It has a lot of the same options. But the AT4 has all the trim on the outside blacked out. And when you buy a black truck like this, it basically all looks color matched from the factory. So you're already miles ahead. After getting the truck home, the very first change that I had to make was the stance. Now, these trucks do sit very high from the factory. The rear ends on GM trucks always sits probably 2 inches or more higher than the front. I just don't love the look. Now, I'm not really an off-road guy per se. A lot of people would level the front end up, but instead I threw a drop shackle on and lowered the rear end down. It looks pretty good, and honestly, it's about the same height as the older HD trucks, because these new 2020s, they're giant. So the very first thing that I did in the wheel department, well, I happen to have an older set of 2011 Denali LML 5-spoke wheels. There's honestly probably one of the better looking factory wheels in my opinion. So I threw them on there just to kind of get my head wrapped around what they'd look like. I do love the acceleration of the 10-speed transmission combined with the L5P. To put it simply, this truck just scoots. You put your foot down and it downshifts into the perfect gear. There's no hunting around, there's no transmission trying to figure out where it wants to be. Instantly, it's in the gear it wants to be in, and it just accelerates. There's a very low RPM drop in between each gear. It stays basically between like 3,100 RPM and 2,500 RPM. So it's always in the peak of the power band. And that also is great when towing. I had a big Super Duty on the back of this thing with a gooseneck recently, and even with 342 gears, that's right, all the 10-speed trucks come with 342s in the differential. It actually still did great because first gear in this 10-speed is really low for, nice torque getting off the line. And 10th gear, well, that's really low as well. So when you combine that with the 342s, when you're cruising 85 down the highway, you have a really nice low RPM as well. At the end of the day, I haven't really had any problems with this truck. I picked it up back in the middle of September. It's now December, and like I said, 8,200 miles have gone by. And I've had it into the dealership once. That was at 5,000 miles for the first oil change, and there were a few warranty things that they wanted to take care of. Number one was a seatbelt pretensioner. There's some kind of problem that they have if you ever get into an accident. The pretensioner deploys, evidently it'll catch the carpet on fire or something. So anyway, they took care of that. The other thing they took care of is evidently there's a calibration change they did on the DEF gauge. I haven't really noticed any difference, but they took care of that. Speaking of DEF, in 8,200 miles, I've only filled it up twice, so the consumption really isn't that high. It's really not that much of a cost. Other than that, really no complaints at all. The truck drives nice and tight, nice and smooth. Definitely a lot smoother than my last 2008 LMM. Certainly a lot quieter with all the emissions components in place, and that's probably my biggest gripe. is these trucks are just so quiet. I love being able to hear the exhaust, but what are you gonna do? As far as plans for the future with this truck, I gotta have more power. That's kind of the only way to say it, is I gotta get more power out of this L5P. In order to properly tune one of these trucks, you have to take the computer out and have it shipped off. HP tuners will do a modification inside, do some kind of electronic wizardry, and then they basically modify it so it can be reflashed. So you put it back in the truck, and then you've got to hook up with somebody like, I don't know, Calibrated Power or DuramaxTuner.com, and they'll write you a fully custom tune for the truck. And that's when things really get exciting. 100% emissions intact, 100% stock truck. Now, think about that for a second. No other changes than a tune. You can make, get ready for it, 550 horsepower at the rear wheels. That's pretty impressive. So I've got to say, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope to be bringing you a lot more content from the home shop, just to kind of keep y'all updated on what I'm working on and what I'm building. So I've got to ask, everybody on YouTube does it. Please smash that like button and hit the subscribe. That way you can always stay up to date. Although you don't really have to smash your computer, you can just click the little button. That's all it'll take. Take two. Hey, anyone out there want to trade? Anybody got a 2019 or a 2020 Sierra 1500 who wants some big goofy looking moose antler tow mirrors? We'll swap them out. I'll make you trade. Make you a good deal. Think about it. Like that guy. He's got half-ton mirrors. Come on, dude. You got deleted comments. You can get out of the way quicker than that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Big dually comments. Even his tow mirrors look better than these.